Hey, I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about the difference between what a POLST is and what an Advanced Directive is. Now, a POLST looks like this, and it's physician's orders for life-sustaining treatment, or our little nickname for it, POLST. And often this will be a red or a pink shade. I just downloaded it off online, and I'm including a link to this online so you have access to it. But essentially what a POLST is physician's orders. So this is driven by a doctor that has had a conversation with maybe an aging loved one of yours that it is feasible or understandable that they could pass in the next year or two. Okay, so this is a voluntary form that people can fill out that instructs emergency staff that they either want treatment to be done or not to be done. Really, a lot of times that this form is filled out when people say, I do not want to be resuscitated if something really bad has happened. I don't want CPR. You know, there's lots of accidents that happen when people are doing chest compressions. For elderly people that have brittle bones, you can imagine that can be awful. A POLST is different from an Advanced Directive. An Advanced Directive is something that the individual themselves does from a legal standpoint, whereas POLST is strictly in the medical field. This is typically done through a conversation that is a caring conversation between the patient and the doctor, or somebody who is working on behalf of the patient and the doctor that has the authority legally to make decisions for that person. Okay, so I'm just going to rip through these real quick just to kind of give you an idea of the difference. Okay, so the POLST, medical, the Advanced Directive is legal, right? This is driven by the healthcare professional. This is driven by the individual. This is really geared towards anybody who's ill or elderly. This is an Advanced Directive, something that every one of us can do, especially if we're parents. You know, we want to do this this is just being a responsible adult. A POLST is a specific medical order. So, for example, the do not resuscitate order would be on there. And then Advanced Directive is more of a general treatment wishes. So this is more generally speaking how you'd want to be treated if there was a life-threatening situation going on. Does not appoint a decision maker. You can't appoint somebody to be your decision maker in the POLST document, but in the Advanced Directive you can. This really is here to instruct the emergency personnel coming in to helping you. So there's usually a physical copy of this in a care home, on somebody's fridge. This is a very common thing for people that are elderly to make sure that the medical emergency staff has access to this little piece of paper here. Or it's also within your medical record, typically at the hospital, but you want to verify that when you're in the hospital to make sure that those things are there. The patient has the original, so you can take this little piece of paper with you or in the medical record there, like we talked about. And then, of course, in an Advanced Directive, there is no real sets copy for people. So those are things that you can be proactive and make sure that other people know the location of where your important documents are. And the last thing here is that it's really up to the doctor or the healthcare professionals to help you out with the POLST form. They need to sign that document, whereas an Advanced Directive is really driven by the consumer or the patient themselves. So I know that this is something that comes up all the time, especially on a trip into the emergency room, and it's really important to have some of these things filled out. But I want you to know that they're completely voluntary. So you're not required to do this. It's just something that takes a little pressure off of the emergency people, the people in the hospital, so they really have a better understanding of what your wishes are. So again, it looks like this. A lot of times it's red or pink, and just to make it stand out. And if you have any questions, I left a link for this in the information down below. So if you wanted to download it yourself, you certainly can. And there's lots of information out online on it. And it really does depend on your state. So I have the California information link down below. All right, talk to you soon. Thanks.